Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. If you're looking to improve your aim and accuracy, there is one thing you can do which will instantly improve it session after session, and that is simply warming up. Today we're going to be going through why you should warm up, 3 common mistakes I see people make over and over again when they're warming up, whether it's for ranked play, whether it's for a tournament, whether it's pros warming up, and then we're going into how I warm up, a nice display of what you can do, how you can set up the lobby, what things to focus on when you're warming up, and hopefully they've worked for me. Hopefully these things can work for you as well. And it's going to be a nice, clean way in how you can improve your accuracy and aim in Call of Duty. Before we get into too many details, the first thing we're going to be focusing on, why do it in the first place? Okay, why bother? Why bother warming up? First of all, you need less time warming up the more frequent you play. So if you play 12 hours a day, you're probably going to need less warm-up time for those of you who play once a week or once every few days, okay? So the first thing you want to be warming up for is to improve your accuracy, okay? You want to get better aim, you want to get better accuracy, not just in that session, but overall, and getting good practice into your mind, into your rhythms, and into your muscle memory, and it's a nice way to do that. You can improve your movement. It's a similar way you can improve your accuracy, you can improve your movement, you can work on how to slide cancel, you can work on how effective your movement can be against players. It helps you get in the right headspace at times, like, for me, if I play and jump straight onto ranked, my head isn't in the right frame of mind. I need to get into that bot lobby. I need to shoot 100 bots for 10 minutes at least to just get into the right frame of mind. It gets me locked for ranked play. And it's also just to physically warm up your hands. Generally, it's if you come back from a walk, you've just been out, or you've just been doing something. Warming up your hands is a nice way to make it so that your hands actually do what your brain's telling them to do. Otherwise, they feel a bit stiff, and it's a nice way of physically, literally warming up. All it is as well, for the sake of 10-15 minutes of warming up and getting better, is for me. If I'm not warming up, it takes me a couple of games easily to warm up, and that's why I would say spend 10 minutes. It's way better than underperforming for the next 2 or 3 games than just spending 10 minutes focusing on your aim, focusing on your movement, and getting better within that small 10-minute controlled environment window than it would be just getting shit on for the first couple of games of ranked play. The first mistake I see people make fairly frequently is warming up in pubs over a private match. Now, I don't necessarily mind that so much, but I would prefer to do pubs is a good thing to do after you focus on your private match. And there's a reason we're going to get into why you do a private match against bots over playing in pubs to warm up for ranked play. First of all, I think pubs is a little bit of a step too far. And with score-based matchmaking or EOMM, whatever you want to call it, you can't really focus on the things you're trying to improve. So, for example, you don't have the time to look at your stats, pull up your accuracy and say, maybe I need to improve this, and then work on doing that, because there's just so much happening. The streaks coming in, people can be sweaty, and there's no way you can focus on actually improving within that warm-up, especially compared to when you're in a really controlled environment like a bot lobby. Being in that lobby, it really enables you to focus on things you want to improve on, whether it's the aim, whether it's your centering, whether it's your hitting higher up in your target, and being in a public match doesn't offer that as much. But as I say, public match after a private match is always a good way to warm up for ranked play, because then what you've learned in that private match, which we're going to get onto in a minute, you can then apply to real life moving people, and then once you've really mastered that, you can then hop into ranked play when you feel warm enough. Another mistake I see people make fairly frequently is setting up the game so it's not a like for like comparison to ranked play. So, for example, something I see a lot of people do is increase the health on the enemy. Now, while that's a really, really nice thing to do to make sure that your consistent accuracy on an enemy is good, I think that's fine for that. There's a lot of reasons why you would only want it to be the same. So, for example, you want to make sure that you're using your bullets effectively. You want to make sure that you're only reloading after X amount of kills, and you want that muscle memory in your mind, in your fingers, that you know that you only need to reload after so many kills. An increased health loses that. Okay, you lose the muscle memory of stopping shooting. You don't. If you're playing people who have got the normal health that you would play against people in ranked play, you're shooting 4 bullets, then you move on to the next target. You shoot 4 bullets, move on to the next target, or 4 or 5 bullets, however many bullets it takes you to kill people. But that muscle memory of just shooting so many bullets into someone before moving on to your next target is essential in becoming a real good shooter when you actually get to play against real people. Playing against someone with real health, with higher health in a bot lobby, just makes it a little bit more confusing and doesn't help your timings and your reload efficiency and your your ability to move target from target as it would do just playing against a normal person. So using that is a one mistake I see people make massively, and it does impact. I've tried it, it didn't work for me. To be fair, if it works for you, it works for you, absolutely fine. But there's definitely some pros and cons to that. I also see people use different loadouts that they would use to ranked play. Like if you're warming up for ranked play, use the guns you would have in ranked play. Now, if you don't have the attachments, use worse ones. Don't use better ones you'd have. Use ones that might make your accuracy a little bit worse than you'd expect it to be in ranked play. And when you get into ranked play, you'll have the attachments you want, and you're like, great, your accuracy is going to be better. So yeah, use the guns you're actually going to be using. Use the setup you're going to be using. If you use Gung Ho, make sure you use Gung Ho. If you use dexterity or whatever it may be, fast hands, make sure you're using those things when you're in a private match. So it's a real like for like comparison, and you're actually warming up for ranked play. I then also see people not trying to actively improve. So that's the third one. So the first mistake I see people make, playing pubs and skipping past the private match. First one. Second one, setting up the game so it's not like anything like you'd actually play in ranked play. Third one is probably the most important one, and it's not focusing on actually improving during the warm-up. I see a lot of people warming up and just trying to play as they normally would. They'd have music on, they'd be chatting, which is absolutely fine, but they're just playing shooting bots and not trying to actively learn what they could be doing to improve their accuracy during that 10-15 minute segment. They could be thinking about how to shoot more accurately. They could be thinking about how to move more fluidly. They could be, they're not trying to be efficient with ammo or improving the weaknesses highlighted in a VOD review or something that I've mentioned maybe in a help with Harrz. You need to be actively focusing on improving if you want to get better and to really make the most out of that 10-15 minutes time you spend on warming up. We are going to be getting on to what I focus on when I warm up in a second. And these things I teach you or at least show to you will hopefully you'll be able to use when you are warming up and hopefully enable you to improve. And at the end of the day, focusing on these things now will mean that you don't have to focus on them in the past and they just become second nature. So you may as well use those 10-15 minutes of warm-up time really effectively, get it in a private match, make it so it's like ranked play, and actively try and improve within that session. So now we're going to be getting into the warm-up itself, what I do every single time I jump on to make sure my accuracy and aim is as best as it can be. And if you do the same thing, I guarantee you will see improvements, okay? Before we get into it, obviously the first setup, the first thing you want to be doing is making sure your bot lobby is ready to go. So you want to make sure you've got the scavenger on your class or a ammo box field upgrade so you don't run out of ammo and you're not having to use random guns. You want to make sure that you're using the same class setup on your gun as you would do in ranked play, so you're using like for like and you're warming up with what you'd actually use. If you typically use an AR in ranked play, use an AR to warm up. If you typically use a sub to rules in ranked play, warm up with a sub. And if you play with a mixture, warm up with a mixture. It's fairly self-explanatory. Now, select a map you'd want to be using in ranked play. I like ones with a mixture of line of sights. Obviously, you want it as free-for-all, of course, but you want it with like maybe it's Hacienda Protocol, Skyline, Volt, anything like that, so that you've got a mixture of line of sights. And then you also want to make sure that your game timer is on 10, 15, or 20 minutes. I would recommend less than 10. Score limit 1,000. Match start time 5 if you want to really get into the game. You want to make sure your radar is always on directional, or always on, just constant, whatever suits you. And then you want to add bots to the lobby, just like so. 11 bots on recruit is absolutely fine. At the end of the day, you're not putting on veteran. If you want to play real people and get used to that, you can play pubs afterwards to get that extra little bit of warmed up. But your main focus here is making sure accuracy and movement are pretty good at a standing player. If there's going to be a lot of people who jump to that conclusion and jump to playing veteran box without having it perfect with recruit bots first. So you'd much rather just play on recruit bots. If you feel like you still need to warm up against real players before ranked play, just play pubs. The radar is on because you're not warming up for awareness on free-for-all. You're aware you're warming up your movement and accuracy, as I said, and getting your fingers warm, so you're not really challenging yourself to player awareness in a free-for-all. That's not what you're warming up for, unless you literally are playing for free-for-alls. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to get into the gameplay now and go through what to actually focus on when warming up. So in the actual warm-up, we're not going to worry about, what I want you to not worry about too much is the movement first of all. I want you to just almost bot walk around, and we're going to be picking up movement a little bit later on because that's something that should come after accuracy. And as I say, you can see I'm playing on Volt here, I'm playing with this class setup, I'm used to the AMES, and I'm playing against just recruit bots, all right? Now, the first step to make sure that you're shooting accurately and your aim is on is centering. So the center dot is on the middle of my screen. Now, if I can put it over the shadow, you can see it quite clearly. It's the dot in between the crosshair. And you want to make sure that before you even start to ADS on an enemy, you're centering on them. So you walk up to a player, center on them, shoot them, happy days. Okay, that's the first step. Make sure that your centering is on before you engage in a gunfight. And it's really good practice actually, because it will help your centering overall, whether or not you know there's an enemy or not. It will make you think about where they're going to be. You make sure your aim is centered up, because I see a lot of people walk around like this and then correct their aim. So having good practice of making sure your centering is where you expect enemies to be. You can see where my middle dot is currently. It's pretty close where an enemy is expected to be. And then it makes, as soon as you're ready, if you're sensitive, if your centering is right, you can see here, it pretty much means that as soon as you're ADS, you're going to be on target. Okay, so it saves moving that your aim once you've already ADS. Okay, now if you're struggling with centering properly and you can't find yourself being able to center your middle dot on an enemy before you start ADSing or aiming in, essentially that is likely to mean that your sensitivity is too high. So if you're struggling for centering, try and lower your ADS, not your ADS, sorry, your normal sensitivity until you feel comfortable being able to correctly center your screen on enemies before ADSing. Okay, and that's a really, really important thing to be doing. Now, once you've got centering down to a T, the next thing to do is obviously ADS. And obviously, when you ADS, if your centering is right, your ADS is going to be exactly on the enemy. Okay, so my center is on this enemy, ADS is already on there. Now, if you're struggling to maintain your aim when you're ADS'd, this begs to question whether or not your sensitivity is still a little bit too high. And if you feel like your centering is pretty good and you're happy with your centering, but you feel like your ADS sensitivity might be a little bit too high and you can't quite aim in and stay accurate when you're aiming in, it's likely due to the fact that your ADS sensitivity is too high. So you can lower that if you're not able to stay on target like so. Now, once you've got that down to an acceptable level and you're happy shooting bots, you're happy with your center, and you're happy that your ADS sense is pretty good, and you're happy with the general settings, and you're able to shoot simply like that, the next step is to make sure that you're using an efficient amount of bullets to kill an enemy. So once you've done that and you're happy with center and you're happy with your aim and you're happy that your first shot is hitting, that's a really important thing. If your first shot is hitting, you look like you're in a good position. If you feel like your first shot isn't hitting, start again. So like that, if I shot miss like that, I wouldn't then aim and then correct myself and then start shooting. Come out of ADS, recenter your gun, and then ADS and shoot them. Okay, that should be what's happening. If you miss your first shot, as I say, like that, come out of ADS, recenter, and finish your gunfight just like so. And obviously, once you've got to that into your real rhythms and routines, and you're happy with the muscle memory involved in centering and aiming in, you then, as I say, want to be efficient with the bullets you're putting into people. So, in a perfect environment, the Harrz kills in 5-6 bullets. So you want to aim to try and get 4 or 5 kills out of your magazine. So I've just got 2 kills. I've got 19 bullets left. Let's try and get a couple more. That's 2. And again, I'm still trying to use my centering. That's good. ADS sense, and that's left me with 2 bullets. Okay, so I've managed to get 5 kills within that magazine. We're going to try and do it again. Again, centering not great. I'm trying to warm up. Again, this is literally me warming up, by the way. I'm not warm before this. Not massively. You can see I'm only on 112 kills. But this is me not just getting used to being really accurate, but this is also making sure that my muscle memory, again, 5 kills, 2 bullets left. Shoot those bullets. If you want, you can practice your pistol switch if you want as well. But that's not me just making sure my accuracy is good and I'm being, I'm conserving my ammo. It's also making sure that I've got a real good timing in the amount of gunfights in my head, and I'm used to shooting 4 or 5 enemies before I start to reload, which means you're being efficient with your reloads and you're not wasting ammo, and you're not reloading too soon, and things like that. All right, so that's a really important thing to do. Once you've got your centering accuracy down to a T in your initial bullets, make sure that you're using just the right amount of bullets to kill an enemy, and you're getting 4 or 5 kills within a magazine. And that's a really important thing to do, whether you're using the sub or an AR. Now, as I say, if you run out of bullets and you end up with 2, just like I did, there's no harm in you using a pistol. Getting used to pulling out your pistol when you run out of ammo is really, really useful, because it ensures that when you're in a live game, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to quickly do another rendition of what I've just done. I've got 3 bullets here. Can I get a kill? Probably not, but a pistol whip. And again, doing that when you run out of bullets instead of reloading with 3 or 4 bullets is going to be massive. And again, help you with that timing when you're in-game playing ranked play against real people. Now, when you're doing this, a really nice thing to do is look at your weapon stats here. So on the bottom left, you can see KD, headshot kills, headshot percentage, limbs, damage dealt, accuracy. You really want, I aim for an accuracy percentage of about 60%. Okay, anything above that means I'm pretty good, I'm pretty feeling warm, and 67% accuracy is pretty good. In game against real people who move, it's going to be much lower. But that's why I say you want to aim for about 60% accuracy, meaning that 6 out of 10 of your bullets hit. If you can get higher than 60%, you're looking really good and it's a good sign. But the important thing is to keep doing what I've gone through. So make sure you're aiming correctly, make sure your centering is good first of all, being efficient with your bullets. And as you're going through your warm-up, you want to try and make sure that your accuracy is going up at the end of the day. It will probably start low, it'll probably start maybe mid-50s. You play a couple minutes, check again, it'll be 60, maybe 60, check again, it might be 65. And your whole point of warming up is to become more accurate for that purpose, okay? So you want to make sure that you are actively improving your accuracy. If you're not, you want to rethink and say, okay, why am I not being accurate? Am I aiming too high? Is my sensitivity too high? Am I not centering quite as well as I could be? And that's really important, and being aware to improve in those 10, 15 minutes you have warming up. And again, doing that day after day after day, before every session, means that your accuracy generally is going to improve. Now, after you've got all this covered and you're happy that your accuracy is at a state where you're happy with, try and mix in some movement. Okay, so try and make sure that when you slide cancel, your centering is on the enemy. Let's try and find another victim. And that's sort of what you do. And that's when you sort of bring in movement. You can bring in diving if you want, bring in jump shots if you want. If you feel like jump shots are something that's getting you killed a lot, don't jump shot as much. A jump shot generally on this game isn't great, but you'll see here, it took me way more bullets to kill that enemy because I jump shot than it would be without. So I now know not to jump shot in those situations. It makes you aware of what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. But generally speaking, you want to try and make sure that your accuracy stays around the same. You can see mine's going up because I'm warming up now. You want to make sure your accuracy is staying the same when you've got these movement down to a T. So I don't really dive too much. I'm a slider more than anything. And you want to make sure that you're happy that when you're moving around and you're sliding, you're still centering correctly. Your first shot is still on. You're able to retain your bullets as efficiently as you would be without moving. And if at the end of the day you're not, and you're struggling to retain your bullets and get 5 kills in a magazine or 4 or 5 kills in a magazine, movement's the thing you've got to work on, okay? Take a step back, see if you can try it again without doing the movement, if you're struggling to keep your accuracy up. And then, again, just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. At first, if this is the first time doing this, it may take you 20 minutes to get into the routine. But the more you play and the more you do this, the more second nature it will become. And trust me, it will help. I've been doing this since Cold War. As you can see, my accuracy isn't shambolic, okay? It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's the best in the world, because obviously it isn't, but it's better than a lot of people out there. Now, once you've done all of this and manually thought and improved every single element you've got, you can then run around the map as if you're in a real game and completely warm up. So play weird angles and make sure you're happy. Take a line of sight you're meant to in game and try and engage in people with really long gunfights. Make sure that, just try and make it real. And if you're still not satisfied because you're shooting recruit bots and you don't quite feel ready for rank play, even though your shots and movement are now pretty good based on what we've just gone through, play against real people. Load into a pubs match, think about what we've just gone through, and try and implement that into your gameplay against pubs matches, because realistically they're likely to be a little bit easier than ranked play. And then, as I say, you should be looking pretty good. So let me know, give this a try, and let me know your feedback. I'm really interested to hear what you think of this, whether it works for you, whether it doesn't, what does work for you. For those of you who are a little bit different out there, that's absolutely fine. This works for me, so I thought I'd just share it. But just to summarize what we've gone through in this little bit of a focus here, you want to, first of all, check your centering. If you can't center properly, reduce your sensitivity. Second of all, you want to make sure that when you ADS, your first bullet is on the enemy. And if you struggle with that, you might want to reduce your overall sensitivity again a little bit, or your ADS sensitivity. Once you're happy that you're centering correctly and your first bullet is always on that person, always hits, you then want to make sure that you're getting 4 or 5 kills within a standard magazine. So 30 kills, about 4 or 5 bullets a kill, maybe 6 or 7. You want to make sure that the aim is to really get 4 or 5 kills of that magazine. After you've done that, do that over and over again, hoping, and then check your accuracy percentage just on the bottom left here. Make sure that's going up. That should be going up. That shouldn't be going down. And try and implement, once you're happy to a stage where you're centering good, your first shots are really nice, and you're able to get enough kills within a magazine, and you're getting that muscle memory in, try and include movement. try and include some slides, try and include some jumps, try and include some dives, and work out what isn't working for you. Be very conscious of, okay, that guy took a little bit too long to kill. Was it because I was over moving, or was it because my aim isn't great when I'm doing that? And try and work on those things. And then once you've done that, try and move around the map if you want. Try and just be a normal player without consciously thinking about it, and make sure that that is ingrained into you before you move on to the next thing. The next thing for you could be ranked, it could be pubs, it's up to you, but those are the key elements of this warm-up, and it has helped, as I say, helped me massively, and I'm hoping it will help you too. So that'll do for me. Sorry for it being a little bit of a longer video about warming up. It's a bit of a weird one, but I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now.